Okay, this is a reaction video. This is another one from the world according to Briggs. 10 states with the most state pride. Well, I've been to 40 or 50 states, so I still need 10 to go to. I don't know how many states that I've been to are going to be on this list, but I'm kind of curious how he describes which states have the most state pride. But let's find out. 10 states in the United States with the most state pride. World according to Briggs. Please click like and share and subscribe for him, and please click like, share, and subscribe for me as well.
Do you take pride in your state? When people say negative things about your state, do you leave comments that read, "Don't ever come to Alabama, Briggs, you ain't welcome, hoss"? Have you ever felt the urge to send an email and say, "If you ever come to Mississippi, Briggs, I'm gonna curb stomp you," and then you freak out and send 11 more emails because I replied, "Does Mississippi have any curbs?" Today we're looking at states where the residents take the most pride in their state. Good or bad, these
Now, I don't know how he judges that. I really don't. Okay, so let's find out how he judges this.
people love their home state. Today we're going to list the states where those residents take the most pride. Now, so we're clear, this video is my opinion. It's an opinion I get from reading
Okay, it's just an opinion then. Okay, so he could be as full of it as most of us are, or he could be right on the ball. But let's find out.
comments, knowing people from these states, my experience, and asking my subscribers on a few different
And it looks like he's been to quite a few of these states, or maybe all of these states. So maybe he's talked to a lot more people. And plus, his channel's been on longer than mine has, so he may have some idea of people who complain if he disses on their states. So again, let's keep going.
polls. Is this video biased? Yeah, I'd say so. Why is it biased? Because it's my opinion based on what I know from what I do for a living and my experience. Opinions are biased. That's just the way humans are. All humans are biased. At least that's my opinion. Bias is like that new word everyone uses on the internet. It's used as an attempt to look educated or to put someone on the defensive. Stop using biased anytime someone doesn't agree with you. All right, let's see who's got the most pride. Now that sort of sounds like a statewide pep rally, doesn't it? Alright, this video is states with the most pride. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Georgia. If you ever look at any video I've ever made that is negative about Georgia, Atlanta, anything to do with that state, you will see a ton of comments. One time, I don't know how many comments I got a ton of them because I said it shouldn't be the peach state because its number one crops are cotton and peanuts. It should be the peanut or the cotton state. It's like every third comment.
And I've been to Georgia before, and it is a good state. I mean, it's certainly a state worth visiting, and Atlanta is a good city.
Was the history of peach growing in Georgia. Now, in my experience, most
It also has the biggest airport in the United States. You think it might be New York or Los Angeles. No, the biggest airport in the United States, to the best of my knowledge, is the Hartfield in Atlanta.
of that pride comes from people from Atlanta. One thing I've always found interesting about people that were born and raised in Atlanta is they'll always tell you what hospital they were born at. If they say like they're a Grady baby or a North Side baby, that's what they're talking about. Kind of tells you what part of the city they were born in and that they are born and bred in Atlanta. And you talk to someone from Atlanta, they always have a list of things that are great about Atlanta. And I mean, they bypass all the negatives. Just, I guess we all do that. But you would think this place is heaven on earth if you talk to someone from Atlanta. I mean, it's
certainly not heaven on earth, but it is a nice city.
Hot. One girl described it as you have two seasons in Atlanta. Those seasons are summer and Christmas. When I did the poll on the community tab, only 2% of the people said they thought people from Georgia had the most pride. Number 9, New Jersey. Yes, these.
Yeah, I've been to New Jersey. To be honest with you, there's nothing exciting about being from New Jersey, except if you're from New Jersey. Now, my girlfriend's a big John Bon Jovi fan, so she loves New Jersey for that. So
people love that state, and this is another place. You talk to someone from New Jersey, and it's like they.
See, if you talk to someone who's not from New Jersey, they don't think anything great about it. But I think if you talk to people from New Jersey, they love it.
know it sucks, but it's a suckage they kind of like. I know that's hard to explain. Now, don't get me wrong, New Jersey has some wonderful places. I mean, their rural areas are amazing. Their cities, most of the time, they're kind of trashy. But if you talk to someone from New Jersey, they make it sound like it's your fault because you think, let's say, Trenton isn't that good. It's like, yeah, Trenton ain't that bad. You just got to be able to take it. Insinuating that you can't take it. People from New Jersey always take pride in Bruce Springsteen, but not many of them take pride in The Sopranos. You bring it up and they like groan, like, oh, the frickin' Sopranos.
Yeah.
They did the same thing when the Jersey Shore was big on television. You bring that up to them, they're like, oh, I don't want to even hear about Snooki. But 8% of the people surveyed on the community thing, it wasn't very scientific. I asked 2 different things, 5 on each, but 8% of the people responded that New Jersey had the most pride. Number 8, Indiana. You know, this one.
That's a state to the west of me, and it's a wonderful state to visit. There's an Amish country in Indiana. It is pretty nice state.
One's kind of strange. I don't think
it's strange that people are prideful about Indianapolis, because I've been there a couple times that I've been there. It's at Bloomington, well, not Bloomington. Indianapolis is a very nice city.
take as much pride in the state as they do each other.
Probably one of the best steakhouses in the United States exists in Indianapolis, St. Elmo's. Really outstanding steakhouse.
I don't know if I can explain that properly. They like their state, and they always bring up that it's a great place to be from, it's a great place to be raised, but it always goes around to the people they knew, the people from the state, and it's really not the state and the land itself. I mean, the land is mostly farmland. I mean, you got Indianapolis, you got South Bend, which we've been talking about a lot lately.
And I've been to South Bend. South Bend's where Notre Dame College is. I've been there a couple times, not several times, but a couple times. And it really is a beautiful state.
You got Gary. These places are not good, but you also have
well, that's a matter of opinion. I like them. I don't think they're that bad.
Fort Wayne, which is pretty decent. They do have some nice places. It's just they got a lot of bad places. That's why I say they don't really consider the state itself. They're proud of the people from Indiana. It's kind of weird. But if I do talk bad about Indianapolis, I have people climbing all up my backside. South Bend and Gary, they don't seem to care about. I think most of the people in Indiana would be perfectly happy giving South Bend to Michigan and Gary to Illinois. It's really neat how Gary, Indiana is probably the worst place in Indiana, and it's right next to Southside Chicago, which is probably the worst place.
Which explains a lot. If it's next to the south side of Chicago, which is someplace you never want to go, that's a good indication as to why.
Place in the United States. 5% of the people on the poll said that they believe that Indiana has the people with the most pride in the state. Just so you know, it was 2 different things, and about 9,000 people so far when I'm making this responded. Number 7, West Virginia.
West Virginia this is the time of year, right? I mean, this is October 24th. This is the time of year you want to go driving around West Virginia. It is some of the most beautiful scenery you've ever seen.
This is another one where they're taking pride in the people, even though they've got a lot of problems, but they take pride in the people.
You may have problems with the cities and things like that, but it may not just be the people, because it's also, like I said, it is some of the most beautiful scenery you've ever seen.
People and the state. They will bring up how beautiful the state is, and I will give the people of West Virginia that. You have probably one of the most beautiful states in the nation. I'm sure some people could argue up New England or maybe even Colorado, things like that, but if you go to West Virginia and you get outside the city, you'll be amazed. Just stay out of the hollers. I learned early on about the pride of the people of West Virginia when I made one of my very first videos. I think I'd only been making videos about 6 to 9 months, and I said that Charleston, West Virginia.
Now, Indiana's to the west of me. West Virginia's to the south.
Here's one of the worst
Southeast
cities in the United States. I got calls from a radio station, okay? I got emails from people. I had elected official email me. I had several emails that were in all caps, and I don't think they were yelling or they were angry. I just don't think they knew how to get the cap lock off. But that radio station, I'm pretty much friends with all the people that work there to this day. We talk all the time. Well, not all the time, but enough. I got to get back out there soon. I think a lot of you will probably be shocked by that because West Virginia doesn't have a great reputation these days. I've talked about it many times before. They got serious poverty issues with the coal industry declining, and then of course they were hit, one of the worst states hit by the opioid crisis, which led to all kinds of other crimes and everything else.
Every state is going to have their problem. But again, it's a beautiful state, and if you ever travel to the United States in and around October, late October, early November. It's a beautiful state to drive in.
like that, but they're building back, and these people love their state, and if you ask most of them, they probably wouldn't live anyplace else. And I've suggested to a lot of people, if you're looking for a place to move to and you're a remote worker, give West Virginia a serious look. The people are wonderful, it's a beautiful state, and it's dirt cheap. Still, I don't know how much longer that's going to be going on, but right now it's dirt cheap. But only about 3% of you said that West Virginians have the most pride in their state. Number 6, Wyoming. Wyoming is a
State I just went to for the first time last year, and now uh, it's a beautiful state, gorgeous scenery, no question about it. But there's nobody there. I mean, literally, they have Casper, they have Cheyenne, but there's really nobody there.
strange state. I mean, a lot of people don't know it really exists. They think it's fake. But I assure you, Wyoming is there and it's beautiful. Wyoming has
It's definitely beautiful.
tons of open plains, beautiful land, and it's known as Big Sky Country. Yeah, it's because all the open plains you see a lot of sky, and I'm totally kidding. It's actually known as the Cowboy State or the
I was ready to say, Big Sky Country is Montana, not Wyoming.
Equality State. Montana is known as Big Sky Country. All right, this is the part. Admit it. Who was leaving the comment? Wyoming and Montana, I always lump them to the same type of state.
I also went to Montana last year as well. I was drove up, flew into Denver, drove up north of Colorado into Wyoming, and then went into Montana as well, which is known as Big Sky Country.
They're different, but Wyoming is beautiful, and the people, they're a strange bunch. They really embrace that whole cowboy western lifestyle and heritage, and you could find it everywhere there. These people aren't faking it. They really live like this, and it's kind of nice. It's simpler, it's more down to earth than most other states in this country. Montana and Wyoming both have this thing that I've noticed. The people that I know from there and people I've met, they just have this attitude of there's no BS. It's point blank.
You know, when we got into Wyoming, we stopped at a welcome center, and everything was cowboy, 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 with the exception of a dinosaur bones that were put together there as well. It was like a little own mini museum, but it was nothing but everything. It was proud of being cowboys.
Blank and to the point. It's strange, especially if you're from like California and New York, where everything, especially California, where everything's kind of like, you might just kind of be wishy-washy about something. They're not. Only 4% of you thought Wyoming residents had the most pride. Number 5, Kentucky. That's right, the blue.
And I mean, it looks like we're picking states that are right around mine. Indiana's to the west. We haven't picked Pennsylvania yet, but the two states that border Ohio on the south is Kentucky and um, West Virginia. And again, Kentucky's a gorgeous state.
Grass state slides in at number 5. You talk to these people for a while and they'll tell you how great Kentucky is. They'll talk you.
They love Kentucky. They love their basketball down there. Kentucky University in Louisville. It really is like I said, it's a beautiful state.
About the drinking they do and the horse racing they watch. They're also willing to talk.
Yeah, that's where the Kentucky Derby. Everybody's heard of the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs.
Talk to you at no end about college basketball. They take pride in all that stuff. The Kentucky Derby, the basketball, the limited amount of teeth most all of them have. Yeah, this one
Yeah, there was a joke I heard one time said, "How do you know the toothbrush was invented in Kentucky?" How do you know that? Because if it was invented anywhere else, it would have been called the teeth brush.
don't get at all. I mean, every time I've ever talked to someone from Kentucky and they go on and on about what a great state it is, I mean, they bring up some valid points, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm not getting it. 9% of the people on the poll said that Kentucky has the people with the most pride. Number 4, New York. Yeah, this one should be.
My mom's from New York, and it's a big state in the northeast part of the United States, and yeah, I can see.
Be a gimme. If you ever met anyone from New York, good or bad, it doesn't matter if they come from the worst part of New York or the best part of New York, they'll explain it the same way. And that's not just in New York City, that's the entire state. These people make it sound like if you're from New York City, you wake up every morning to a beer, a back rub, and a check for $1,000.
Keep in mind, if you're from New York City, if you're 1 mile outside of the city limits, if you live 1 mile outside of the city limits to the north, that's upstate New York to them, as far as they're concerned. But yeah, New York City is a place is in the southern part of the state. on the border of New Jersey. And but if you go the upstate New York area, if you go drive like Albany, and I've driven through to Buffalo, really gorgeous scenery. It really is a nice state, really a great state, not just New York City.
$1,000. It's like Nirvana. On the one poll that had New York on it, 52% of the people said New
That's Times Square.
Yorkers have the most pride. Number 3, Colorado. Yep, the Centennial State shows up at number 3. You guys didn't see it.
I've been to Colorado a couple times. Last year, like I said, I flew into Denver. The one thing that surprised me about Denver, we call it the Mile High City, but I came in from the east, I expected to be going up mountains because it's in the Mile High City, but it was really all flat land and farmland for most of it until you got to the city, and that really surprised me. Now, if you go to the west, that's where you find the Rocky Mountains, but it's really isn't mile. It really surprised me when I came into Denver that way.
That way, I did. Only 4% thinks Colorado residents have the most pride, which I find that strange. If you read the comment section of any video I have that mentions Colorado, you will just see it filled with people talking how wonderful Colorado is, and then right next to it, they also tell you not to move there. They're full. They're like the number one for that, for some reason. I mean, people...
Yeah, don't move here, we're full. You come and visit, just make sure you leave after a week.
People from every single state do that. I mean, I've never seen it from Mississippi or Louisiana, but 48 of the states tell you don't move here, we're full, we don't need any more people. They go through that whole gambit of things, but Colorado...
And those people, you just tell them to go jump in a lake. I mean, who cares? I mean, there's plenty of room. And, for someone who lives in Columbus, Ohio, please come to Ohio. There's plenty of room. We welcome all. Even people from the University of Michigan want to live down here. By all means, you will be welcome.
Colorado gives the reasons why they want it to be left alone. They want it to stay the way it is. It's getting too crowded. It's a beautiful state and Californians are ruining it. Yeah, I can't believe only 4% of the people that voted on that one thought that the Centennial State has the most pride. Number 2, Tennessee. Yep, the volunteer state.
Yeah, Tennessee, again, just to the south of me. I got to go through Kentucky to get down there. Really beautiful state. I've driven through. Went went south through to the outside of Nashville and drove all the way to Memphis. Now Memphis is a crap hole. Okay, I've talked about Memphis briefly before. Okay, it's not the greatest place, but they do have pride in Memphis. There are good parts of Memphis, but to me it looked like it was what it was. But yeah, Tennessee's a beautiful state.
State comes in at number 2. Talk to anyone from Tennessee. They'll tell you how amazing this state is. And at least they're honest, and most of them will tell you, yeah, Memphis is a nightmare. But the rest of the state they think is just wonderful. And they've got a lot of good things going on in this state, and they have a lot of things to be proud of, especially their history. Like I said, though, even they know Memphis is not something to be proud of. Tennessee, again, very...
I say it here, he says it right after I do.
Down-to-earth, good people in this state. Throughout the state, it's really strange. I mean, except for Memphis, of course. 27% of the people that voted on that one said Tennessee has the residents that have the most pride. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There's a link below.
I'm guessing this is going to be, number 1's going to be Texas.
And number 1, Texas. This should be no...
Yeah, Texas born, Texas bred, Lord, I'd be Texas dead. My dad was born in El Paso, Texas. Okay. He was born in 1941. When World War II broke up, his father wanted to join the war effort. And his mom said, you can do that, but the price is we have to move to Southern California. So basically my dad grew up in Southern California in North Hollywood. Okay. But tell that man he's not a Texan. He's got words for you. Okay. As far as he's concerned, since he was born in El Paso, he's a Texan. Okay, he's barely lived 5 years. It's 81 years on this earth. Okay, he may have spent maybe 4 or 5 years in Texas, if that. Okay, and that was as a little kid. Okay, but he spent most of his life in Ohio. But according to him, he's a Texan, and he has pride in being a Texan.
surprise to anyone that's ever had a conversation with someone from Texas. These people love their state and they're not afraid to tell you. Matter of fact, they'll slip it into any conversation you have. You walk into Subway, I'd like a BMT on wheat and a large Dr. Pepper, and they're all, BMT on wheat, that's terrific. Did you know Dr. Pepper was made in Waco, Texas? Isn't that terrific? Just like Texas. Y'all, Texas is another one of those states where that is the first thing they'll say in the comment section. Don't move to Texas, we're full. Y'all. And I mean, they're so into their
And they're full of it. There's plenty of room in Texas. Move there if you wish.
state they think they could do without the rest of the United States. They always want to break away. At least they have some people talking about breaking away. It's one of those things that'll never happen. Sort of like those jackaloons we got up here in Oregon that want to break off from Oregon and join Idaho. Idaho doesn't even want them. But yeah, that always comes up in conversations with someone from Texas, how they just want to break away from the United States and become their own country. Then they bring up that at one point they were. But yeah, Texas is a great state. It's got a lot of things going for it. It's not my cup of tea. It gets a little too hot and it's a little too desertish in most of it. And yes, I know you've got some hill country and I know you got down there by Houston. It's kind of a swampish thing, but it's just too hot for me. Other than that, Texas has a lot of great things. That's probably why it's so popular for people relocating right now.
Yeah, people love Texas. That's not a surprise. It was interesting. I would have put Ohio on this list because there's a lot of people who have pride in the college team, the Ohio State Buckeyes, but not so much on at least but based on his uh, uh, experiences, because that's what this is all based on. But can't really say I complain. I believe I've been to all 10 states that he had on this list, which is nice. Uh, but yeah, for World According to Briggs, please click like, share, and subscribe for him, and please click like, share, and subscribe for me. Uh, I enjoyed this. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching.